night, there was a quiet, tense atmosphere building in the PBA locker room at the Landmark Lanes in Peoria, Illinois. The bowlers went through their ritual of last-minute repairs to their equipment and their swollen fingers. Of the 192 competitors who started this tournament, only 24 have survived the 41 of 42 qualifying games and match play in the AMF Magicscore Open. It was down to the final game, the position round, to determine which 5 finalists would compete in the championship finals. Just one more game and one last opportunity to move up in the field. For some, it was a heartbreak and dissatisfaction of not qualifying for the finals. For others, it was a joy and realization that they would be competing for a PBA title and top prize money. Live for the 20th consecutive year, ABC Sports presents the Pro Bowlers Tour. Today, the finals of the $125,000 AMF Magicscore Open, as these top 5 bowlers compete for the $20,000 first prize. In 5th place from Dublin, California, looking for his 2nd consecutive PBA title, Earl Anthony. In 4th place from Indianapolis, Indiana, one of the bright young stars in the Pro Bowlers Tour, Mike Albee. In 3rd place from Somerset, Massachusetts, seeking his 3rd PBA title, Paul Moser. In 2nd place from Charlotte, North Carolina, consistent money winner over his 11-year career, George Pappas. And our leader from New Albany, Ohio, shooting for the largest first prize money of his career, Roy Buckley. And this is a great aerial view of Peoria, Illinois, a city of commerce and industry. It's on the Illinois River, which links to the Mississippi and then on to the Gulf of Mexico. What a place in north central Illinois. We're delighted to be here. We're inside now of the Landmark Lanes, just a small part of the Landmark Recreation Facility. And what a facility it is, second to none. I'm Chris Schenkel, delighted to be here for the first time ever. A lot of friendly people here, hundreds of them, watching today, along with you, 5 of the greatest bowlers in the world. And we have a cross-section of the PBA membership today. There are 5 of them as we introduce them, but a little unusual today. 3 lefties and 2 righties. In fact, my colleague Nelson Burton Jr. is with 2 of them right now. Bo?
Chris, the first time this year that we have seen 3 lefties in a championship round. There's a very simple reason. Paul Moser, he's just bowling sensational. He had a hot hand last week. And the other 2 left-handers are the premier lefties in the game of bowling, young Mike Albee and Earl Anthony. And with me are Albee and Anthony. And Mike, last year you had a sensational year, All-American first team, 3 years on the tour, you've been in the top money. What is in your future in this game?
Well, for me, I'm looking to keep on going strong, looking for Bowler of the Year honors, but also looking to win every title I can.
Well, that's pretty high ambitions, but a man on my left told me last week, Earl Anthony, that he wants to take over as #1 again. And Earl, let's face it, Albee's been tough on you on television.
He is. He's very, well, he's a fine player, Bo. I think based on the difference in our age, I should get some handicap. I'm twice as old as he is.
Well, Chris, we have the young and the mighty in match 1.
What a match that will be. This is the 4th year for the AMF Magicscore Open. 2nd year at Landmark, $125,000 total money. Here's the first breakdown. The champion, $20,000, the runner-up, 11. $7,500 for 3rd, $6,000, followed by 5th. So we're going to be back. The great Earl Anthony will go against Mike Albee, the West Coast against the Midwest, after this.
Today, bowling's more fun than ever, especially with AMF Magicscore. You knock 'em down, Magicscore adds 'em up. So this weekend, why not bring a friend bowling? You'll enjoy it even more with AMF Magicscore.
Control 6 to base. Looks like this big old hole on the ground is going to be safe for the night. Over.
So they come out all beat. It's Miller time.
Miller time. Time to appreciate the difference between a good beer
when it's time to relax
and a great beer.
One beer stands clear.
Miller High Life.
You got the time. We got the beer. Come Miller time. We got the beer.
You're looking at the enemy of your spark plug, sooty carbon. It robs power and mileage. Motorcraft spark plugs fight the enemy. With Motorcraft's extended tip design, carbon is actually burned away as you drive. Motorcraft spark plugs for the future of your car, for sure.
Live in Peoria, Illinois, our first match. Earl Anthony, winner of 33 titles, going against 20-year-old Mike Albee, who has won 3 in his 3-year membership in the PBA. In fact, Earl was 22 years old when Mike was born, so it's the new against the veteran. Mike will shoot first. 2 left-handers, Bo, ready to go. Well, what can you say?
Well, Albee a little tentative on the first shot. He throws it wide, leaves a 3-7. And they have contrasting styles. Albee bowls much like a right-hander. He's a cranker on that left side, throws the big, powerful hook ball. And everybody knows Anthony's style, down the line and accuracy.
So it's a great day for left-handers. Whether you be amateur or professional, you can pick up a few tips. The 3-7 left lane. So it's an open frame for 20-year-old Mike Albee in the very first. And this is our first game. The winner to meet, Paul Moser, another left-hander. Last week's winner, the Rolaids Open champion at Dick Weber and Bob Temmy's Lanes in Florissant, Missouri. He jumps on it immediately with a powerful strike. Right lane.
Earl Anthony with that crooked arm style, much like the great Don Carter in the 50s. 2 of the most accurate bowlers that ever lived, Chris, and they have that crooked arm style where they just push their ball towards their spot, but they keep it very close to their body.
All the honors. This man, 3-time winner of the PBA National Championship, twice winner of the Firestone Tournament of Champions, going for a double. Leaving the 4-pin on the left lane of our first game.
Earl Anthony just a little high on that shot. If any characteristic of Anthony on the championship round is usually in the early frames, he's a little shaky, and as he was last week, he got a couple lucky breaks, but then once he gets in his groove and rhythm, he is as tough as they come.
Strike and a spare for Earl Anthony, who is mic'd today. Wireless microphone on Earl, and from time to time we'll probably hear a comment from him. Now Mike Albee, who won a big championship going against Earl Anthony in 1979. Mike won the PBA National title, beating Anthony 245 to 217. All right, there's a strike after an open frame. Earlier we had a chance to talk to Mike Albee about his using a light ball, light in weight.
I use a 15-pound ball mainly because I can do a little bit more with it and I can get the ball down the lane. And I would recommend it for anyone who wouldn't actually force the ball, anyone that couldn't handle a 16-pound ball, just someone so they could relax a little bit with the ball and feel comfortable.
All right, there's a tip, and our Rolaids tip of the week with Nelson Byrne Jr. later will be on the grip. Well, strange left lane, the 3-7-9.
Chris and Lee, we haven't seen much. It's the right-handers we catch, the 2-8-10, but it's the big hook ball player when the ball breaks very sharply and too late down the lane. Often leave any combination of the 3-7. Now it's a lot more difficult with the 9-pin in there.
With a lot of speed and power. And in 3 frames, second open frame for 20-year-old Mike Albee, and Anthony now is in a 23-pin lead. The spare working, shooting in the 3rd frame. He is on the approach of the right lane. Now the left-hander's bucket now.
Chris, the 3-5-6-9 with the bucket for the right-hander would be the 2-4-5-8. But we see 2 things that happen here in the match. Both players have been light except for one hit by Anthony where he went high. And that usually tells you that the lanes are a little tighter than we've seen so far this year.
with a spare here in Peoria, Illinois, world capital for soybean exportation. It's quite a city, Bo.
The players just love it. This AMF Classic has really found a home here at Landmark Lanes. A beautiful facility for the players, and they really enjoy the Midwest.
Handball, racquetball, you name it, this facility. Ray Becker's done a great job as a proprietor. Well, little education here today. There's a 6-8, so you're getting an opportunity to see a lot of spares being shot at.
The type of style that each player has is showing up in their pin reaction. Earl Anthony down and in is breaking the ball much earlier on the left-hand lane. He left a 6-8 on that particular shot. He was high the frame before, whereas Albee, trusting the ball, giving it a lot of room, has finished behind the head pin. Left lane looks like it could be a big problem for the left-handers.
So Earl Anthony comes up with his first open frame, and now the lead has been cut to only 6 pins. Albee trailing. He'll be bowling next.
Of all the pickups on the market today, one is leaving the others behind. It's the leader, Ford, with the best gas mileage ratings of all the American-built pickups that can carry a big 2,500-pound payload, with more 6-cylinder torque than any of them, too. And as for the imports, Ford's got them in roominess as well as payload. And now check out Ford's base price compared with the little imports. Yes, for total value, Ford carries them all. It's America's best-selling pickup.
Come in now and check out the deals during your Ford dealer's big leadership celebration. Can you see the difference between Firestone's steel-belted Trax 12 and other all-season radials? Firestone has special traction bars for pulling power in snow, but they're hidden in the Trax 12 tread for smooth, quiet turnpike driving. Long-lasting Trax 12, the all-season steel-belted radial with traction you can see. Traction 12 months a year. Trax 12, Firestone's lowest-priced steel-belted white-wall radial.
Next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, the mystifying feats of the Chinese acrobats of Canton. The West Coast roars at the Winter Nationals, and America's dazzling new champions perform. Acrobatic artistry and poetry on ice. ABC's Wide World of Sports is next.
Yes, an unbeatable combination from a 3-part Wide World of Sports, which follows the Professional Bowlers Tour every week. Okay, the prettiest part of this telecast is with Bo Burton right now. You'll see that good-looking part after the shot. Second strike for Mike Albee. Here's Nelson.
Chris, and with me is Susan Anthony, and she's the wife of our all-time league money winner, Earl Anthony. And Susie, I have to ask you, at age 42, most of the players are over the hill on their way out. How does Earl keep his competitive edge and stay right near the top?
Well, being competitive is very natural for Earl. He likes to win at everything he does. After he won last week, all he said was, "That was nice, but I sure would like to win next week." It's just natural for him.
Well, thank you, Susie, and good luck to you. Back to you, Chris.
All right, and Mike Albee, after a strike in the 4th frame, has a horrible-looking split here, the 4-6-7, 8-10 on the left lane. Just remarkable. Mike Albee averaging through 42 games, 224, Anthony 223. So here is 20-year-old Mike. Went for it all the way. So it's his 3rd open frame in 5 frames. The very first game of our live coverage of the AMF Magicscore Open. Incidentally, here is Earl. You saw his wife, Susie, who is a graduate of Bradley University, which is right here, and at one time worked in the Sports Information Director's office. After an open frame, a strike in the 5th for Earl Anthony. We told you just prior to Albee bowling, only 6 pins separated them, but then now Anthony, after Albee's open, has come up with a strike and takes a 24-pin lead.
Chris, and I think this is where Anthony will show his experience in this match. He's been high and on the left-hand lane, and I think that knowing him, he will move out to where he went high and throw the ball much straighter and much harder to the pocket. A key shot to put Albee in a lot of trouble. No. 4, 6, 10.
Let's look at it again from a lower angle.
You can see that outside trajectory right out by the channel, and watch the ball break very sharply, cutting right through the middle, leaving the 4, 6, and the 10.
Nelson, we promised him variety, and the 5 participants were getting it in the shots. All right. Albany with 3 open frames. Anthony now with 2 and 12 pins separating these 2 professionals. Now, Albany is up, shooting in the 6th frame. He's on the right lane. 59 through 5. Can't believe it. About as he did 2 frames ago after an open, came back with a powerful strike. So now, he can double here. He cut the lead to 2 pins.
You see Albany has had an open in the 1st, 3rd, and 5th frame on this left-hand lane. Now he's in position to cut the Earl Anthony's lead down to 2 pins. What he must do is move to that outside line and throw it real hard, or play the big hook and hook it as much as he possibly can to get the ball to finish right at the pocket.
Hey, now only 2 pins in a seesaw battle between a great veteran against Albany.
How do you grow a great cigar? Master planter Ralph Merrill knows. Plant special Dutch Masters tobacco seedlings in a fertile valley. Control the searing sun with clouds of special cloth. And wait. Now select only the best leaves and harvest them all by hand. That's how Ralph Merrill grows a great cigar. Like the Dutch Masters Panatella. There really are masters and Dutch masters.
People across America, from New York to L.A., they're leaving their cars at home and going the Greyhound way. No need to worry about driving when there's someone you can trust.
Next trip, leave your car at home and your troubles behind.
Go Greyhound and leave the driving to us.
Join us next Saturday as the Pro Bowlers Tour travels to North Homestead, Ohio for the $100,000 Cleveland Open. Defending champion Kyle Shedd will be competing amongst other top bowlers for the $13,000 first prize. The Pro Bowlers Tour next Saturday live at 3:30 Eastern Time, exclusively on ABC.
What a great tournament veteran Carmen Salvino had, finishing 6th. He is the alternate. He's in the Illinois Hall of Fame, the PBA Hall of Fame, the ABC Hall of Fame. And here's a man he admires, Anthony. All right, after an open, these professionals show you how it's done. An error, but they come right back with perfection, a strike in the 7th frame.
Earl Anthony, that style we talked about, so methodical, head steady, a little bent elbow, nice long follow through. And look at how he finishes so solid at the line. Big, strong, powerful man, but perfect balance. Now, we talked about the adjustment Earl had to make. And Albany made his adjustment. He went outside, threw the ball hard, got a strike on this lane. Anthony must do the same thing.
All right. Can go to a 12-pin lead. And does. All right. Well, I got to ask you something. If there were no sideboards down there, and you're just bowling at pins such as we see there, very little action, who would be the greatest at making strikes?
Well, Chris, for 25 years I've seen top players on that particular shot. Anthony used the sideboard, the 3 to knock out the 6-10, but pure solid strike hits, I'd have to go with that man Anthony and the great Don Carter in his heyday in the 50s and 60s.
And I can add that Nelson Burton Jr. might win the championship.
Thank you.
Well, we got the 3, 5, and 6, and we've had a change of leadership through the 42 games here, Nelson. It's been exciting.
Caldwell off to an early lead, Albany, then Buckley finishing very strong in the match play finals. And this was a 42-game format tournament, and we had a strong Pro-Am on Tuesday. Chris, he just did not get out of that ball. He hung up in the thumb hole, and it went way out over the line. No accuracy, air direction, something I don't see Mike Albany do very often at all. He's usually a very hot, slashy type player. Just to emphasize it, he shot an 802 series for 3 games Thursday morning, so you know he's still bowling well, but he just hung up in the ball.
good luck belt buckle with a silver dollar in it given to him by a friend. And he told me, Bo, earlier, it was given to him so he could always make 7 pins. The 7 pin, well, he's going to have a shot at it right now.
Probably the worst feeling you can have bowling, especially in the championship round, is when you lose the feel of the thumb hole. We saw Mark Roth do it in the U.S. Open where he had a little trouble. Always lost that feel now. He dropped that ball in the last shot. Fortunately, didn't get a split.
Oh, get rid of the belt buckle.
Anthony has a match well in hand with Albee going, believe it or not, at a 141 pace. Earl Anthony, a 40-pin lead, can extend to 50.
Does just that with that 3-bagger. Mike Albee with 5 opens, just unheard of, but we had Mark Roth with 3 consecutive opens a couple of weeks ago, which is hard to believe too, right?
Well, it can happen to anyone. The lowest game in the tournament, by the way, was a 108 game, unbelievable, by Eddie Ressler Jr., who everybody knows is one of our greatest players.
Right, and then I quit after I bowled 108, Nelson. Let's listen.
Be smart enough to move once.
That's the voice of Earl Anthony, who is going to move up, and he goes against another left-hander named Paul Moser of Somerset, Massachusetts. The 4-7. Okay, we'll give you the final score, but Earl Anthony has won the first match against a disappointed Mike Albee.
The Pro Bowlers Tour. This ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by AMF, makers of Magicscore, the automatic scoring unit. This weekend, why not take a friend bowling? And by the Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer.
Coming up next, Earl Anthony, who shot a 189. He'll go against Paul Moser. The Pro Bowlers Tour will continue after this message from one of our sponsors and station identification.
You want your import car to run its best. Insist on top-quality Napa brand parts. The trusted name in domestic parts is now the name to trust in import parts. When the name is Napa, the standard is quality.
You know people like me. We're young, ambitious. These are the uniforms we wear at work. But these are the uniforms we wear when we serve part-time in the National Guard and the Reserves. You see, in the Guard and Reserves, you earn extra money. So you not only serve your country, you serve yourself. Yet while you serve, you can live at home and keep your full-time job. Because in the Guard and Reserves, you don't have to give up one life to live another.
The National Guard and the Reserves. Talk to your local recruiter.
Who's killing the black children in Atlanta? A special report Monday on ABC's World News Tonight.
Pro Bowlers Tour live in Peoria. Earl Anthony with 6 strike shot, a 189. Mike Albee with 5 open frames, a 141. Anthony, by virtue of the victory, moves up now against left-hander Paul Moser. He is from Somerset, Massachusetts, a 33-year-old 2-time PBA winner. He'll shoot first.
Chris, Paul Moser on the telecast in the Rolaids last week. In the championship round again this week, has severely cut a ring finger. It may give him some trouble right at the joint. He uses a fingertip grip, and that ring finger is split wide open.
Last week finished 4th, losing to the eventual winner, Earl Anthony, 254 to 191. .47 for Paul on the left lane. Last week, Paul did win a game against Tom Lasco, 192 to 171. And just shows what perseverance will do, Nelson. Started this week on 109th, tied for 29th after 2 rounds, then qualified in 12th position to come up and finish 3rd rather.
He's been bowling steady all winter, has finally got it together the last 2 weeks.
All right, good job. Marking with the spare, Paul Moser. Now, Earl Anthony.
Well, it's simple. The key for Anthony, he's hit the right-hand lane here at Landmark, lane 30, very well. He must make the adjustment on lane 39.
Smooth, organized, consistent Earl Anthony opening the 2nd game in our live coverage from Peoria with a strike.
Earl contemplating in between games what to do on the left-hand lane. Once again, he has 2 decisions, either to kill the ball, which he did on his fill ball, and throw it dead straight at the pocket, hope it doesn't go high. He got a strike on his fill ball. I think he'll try that in his first shot again. He'll break his wrist back in a broken position and roll the ball straight towards the pocket with no break.
Earl Anthony with a double. And we're in Peoria, home of Caterpillar. They employ 33,000. And you know, Bo, Arnold Palmer and I, we like toys. And those bulldozers are one of the great toys anybody can have, you know?
A little expensive for the average person.
Yeah. And that's what Paul would like to do, is doze out the 10 pins here. He has a spare up shooting in the 2nd. 6-pin on the right lane at 5 feet 4 inches tall, 155 pounds. He was born in Stoneham, Massachusetts, lived in Medford, Brockton, Somerset.
Notice how Moser keeps his elbow right next to his body in his starting position. Watch this. Helps the arm swing stay in. There it is, elbow tucked right next to the body.
All right, Paul Moser. We asked him earlier what it was about being short in bowling.
Well, there's definitely an advantage. I think that you don't have to have as much knee bend. A big, tall fella has to have a lot better knee bend and more control in his knees, and a shorter player has to bend less at the line.
Okay, so people that who are average-sized, as our colleague Jim McKay would always say, you do have an advantage, as Paul Moser just told you. Trailing by 11, shooting in the 3rd frame, 2nd game.
Of the 2 players, Chris, I believe Moser has the advantage, even though Anthony has been tough on Moser over the years, and Anthony's already got 1 match win under his belt today in the championship round, because Moser throws the harder straight ball, and that's what it looks like it's going to take on lanes 37 and 38 here at Landmark.
Anthony defeating Mike Albee of Indianapolis. Albee $5,000. Even Frank Esposito smiled. Were there any sideboards used there?
Hey, Chris, you said it, the sideboard. Watch the head pin go to the sideboard and take out the 3. The backdoor shot. What a tremendous break. And once again, as you could see, if there were no sideboards up there that time, Earl would have left as many as 6 pins standing. So what an important part they play in the game.
All right. 3-bagger. 4th frame. 2nd game. Pesky 7-pin on the left lane.
and changing balls to shoot the spare, a harder ball for the spare.
I got it.
For the spare in the fourth frame, leading by 20 pins in the second game. We'll return to Peoria after this.
If one Rolaids tablet isn't always enough for your acid indigestion, watch this Tums demonstration. One Rolaids and one Tums tablet are added to stomach acid. Both neutralize the acid. But on those occasions when your stomach has even this much more acid, Tums can still absorb it. Rolaids can't. Because tablet for tablet, Tums neutralizes 1/3 more acid than Rolaids. For acid indigestion and heartburn, all you may need is this, Tums.
He was a fighter.
I'm the best. I can take him more than anybody.
A lover.
You're dead. You're married. Leave the young girls for me.
A sinner.
There's no way I'm going down. I don't go down for nobody. He doesn't respect anybody.
Robert De Niro in a Martin Scorsese picture. Raging Bull, rated R. Nominated for 8 Academy Awards. Check newspapers for a theater near you.
Our coverage is live from the Landmark Recreation Facility in Peoria, Illinois, equidistant between Chicago and Beau's hometown, St. Louis. From Massachusetts, Paul Moser, trailing by 20 pins, shooting in the fourth frame with a strike up. Big one. Don't forget, next, following the Professional Bowlers Tour at 5 Eastern and Pacific, 4 Central, the Chinese Acrobats of Canton, the Winter National Drag Racing Championships, and then United States National Figure Skating Champions.
Chris, I know that's one of your favorite sports, that figure skating. It is enjoyable to watch.
Well, you have an opportunity to see Elaine Zayak and Scott Hamilton, the new national champions, as they prepare for the World Championships in 2 weeks, to be seen right here on ABC.
Moser can even the match with another strike.
3 in a row. Paul Moser. Now Anthony back up. And he'll be shooting on the right lane in the 5th frame, a spare working.
And is that Moser looking good out there? He really threw those last 2 balls sensational.
Bowling proprietor Earl Anthony in Dublin, California. What a sharp hook at the last minute, leaving the 2 and the 4. Earl is mic'd. Look at that, bowler of the year 3 times. Spare in the 5th frame. And he has lost the lead by 2. Or should I say, Moser has gained the lead.
Anthony's studying what board to stand on. Well, apparently he has it figured out. He even said to himself, that'll do it. He looked down, he changed the board he's standing on, threw a more natural shot that time, and that should be a big confidence builder as this match continues.
You know, last week, Nelson, before they competed in a tournament in which he won, he said he just couldn't find the place, the spot. But he went on to win.
Well, he found it as he hit the pocket 19 consecutive times last year, once he got last week when he got zeroed in.
Beautiful. 4 in a row for Paul Moser.
5'4", Moser at 155 has got a tremendous style. Look at that locked elbow, body balance, watch the good knee bend, and he is throwing the ball sensational. See that ball, arm swing right towards the target with a good loft and great results. He leads by 12, has a four-bagger working.
A 33-year-old who travels with his wife, Debbie, in a mobile home from tournament to tournament. Next stop, North Olmsted, Ohio. And there is Debbie.
A 170 average bowler in her own right.
All but the 6, ending the string at 4. Still leading by 11 pins. 128 make it through the 5th frame.
Moser slipped slightly on his pivot step, his second to last step. His left foot came out from under him just slightly. Did not get the leverage and the speed that he wanted, thereby going a little high, leaving the 6.
Earl Anthony won the first match. Now in the second, he's trailing Paul Moser. We'll be back.
North club's clear and head wall's clear. I guess it's Wheeler time. Last one down buys. Right. I can taste that free beer now.
When it's time to relax.
What took you so long?
One beer stands clear, Miller beer, if you got the time. We've got the beer.
Ford and your participating Ford dealer announce the 10% cash assistance program. Right now, when you buy any new 1981 Fairmont, Mustang, Granada, or Thunderbird, you can get a check directly from Ford for 10% of the base vehicle sticker price. That means more than $600 on Fairmonts, Mustangs, and Granadas, all the way up to $1,100 on Heritage Thunderbirds. But you must take delivery or order now through March 21st.
Get 10% from Ford.
Next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, the mystifying feats of the Chinese acrobats of Canton. The West Coast roars at the Winter Nationals, and America's dazzling new champions perform. Acrobatic artistry and poetry on ice. ABC's Wide World of Sports is next.
3 exciting events: Wide World of Sports, Chinese acrobats, drag racing, national figure skating champions. Here's a great bowling champion, Earl Anthony, with a strike up. It could cut the lead to 1. But no. Leaves the 3, 5, 6, 9.
And a bit mystified at the right-hand lane.
Amazing.
He said amazing. He thought he threw a strike the frame before. He left the 2-4, cutting through, and then he made an adjustment on the approach and went light, left the 3, 5, 6, 9. So his margin of error is not much.
Anxious moment at the line for Earl Anthony, marking with a spare in the 7th frame, trailing by 11. Warming up off to the right, you hear pinfall occasionally. That is George Pappas, Charlotte, North Carolina, finished 2nd after 42 games, waiting to meet the winner of this match, Anthony, against Paul Moser.
No one has had an open frame in this match, where in the first match, Earl had 2, and Albee had 5.
Oh, 7.
Solid 7. Nobody knows better than Earl that there's not much you can do about it.
Smooth stroke. Spare in the 8th frame for Earl Anthony. Anthony won the first match against Mike Albee, 189 to Albee's 141. Eighth frame, leading by 12, spare up. Leaving with 7, 8th frame.
Moser, a good break. He pulled up or reared up at the line that time and lost control of the ball at the last second. Almost cut through and got the 6-7 split. 3-pin going to the sideboard, knocking out the 6 and the 10. Moser putting a little rosin on his ball to get a better grip. Bowling in that thumb hole, warm it up.
All right, this is the Professional Bowlers Tour, our 7th stop. And the next couple of weeks, the Cleveland Open in North Olmsted, Ohio.
Then we go to one of my favorite places, Imperial Lanes in Toledo, Ohio. Then on the Miller High Life and the King Louis. And Chris, the tournament in Toledo, the national championship. The Chamber of Commerce in Toledo has done such a sensational job. They're just waiting for the pros to return to Toledo. It should be a real major tournament.
Toledo, underrated city, let me tell you. It's a great city. 9th frame, leading by 11, a spare working. A 4.
Last week, Moser started his game very well in the championship round, then started laying the ball down. You see him swinging through there. When he gets the ball about 8 to 12 inches over the foul line, lifted out there, Debbie checking the score sheet on the side, knows the match is close. When he gets that ball slightly over the line, he has good control and good direction. That time he just lost it at the bottom of his swing. Got a good break and easy spare.
Meanwhile, the first right-hander of the show is warming up. Ooh, just got it. Just made the 4. Spare in the 9th frame, and now Earl Anthony is up to shoot on the right lane in that foundation frame, the second match. A winner of the first over Albee, 189 to 141. Tremendous facility cheering that strike for Anthony.
Earl Anthony in a situation where he can take the lead in a match or even it up. If he strikes, they are dead tied after 10 frames. If he doubles, he forces Paul Moser.
One at a time. Get it down.
Good advice for anybody. He just gave himself one strike at a time.
Organized. Took his own advice, an even match. Our second here in Peoria, Illinois. Hope you're enjoying the live coverage. These fans are.
As many matches on a Pro Bowlers Tour go, down to the very last ball, the fellow who can perform under the pressure. So far, Anthony's got one strike in the bag. The match is all even. He can take the lead here.
Even though they're competing on a championship pair, we have monitors all throughout this 50-lane establishment where the spectators can see it as you see it at home as well.
Get up.
Open with 3 in a row.
See the intensity of the eyes of Earl Anthony. He knew he threw it well and got a great break off the sideboards once again. He's using them this week. But his situation becomes this. With a strike here, Earl Anthony can force Moser to get all 3 strikes for a tie.
Down the lane. Down the lane. All right, come on.
236. You're seeing the ingredients that have made him a champion. 33 victories, Earl Anthony. And now, Paul Moser, Gutty. 5-4, tough. Spare in the 9th, and pressure's on.
Must strike. Needs all 3 strikes, 10th, 11th, and 12th to tie. As soon as he misses, he would be out.
All right, 2 to go.
What a position for the wives to be sitting in, not more than 10 feet away from their husbands, bowling for a tremendous, tremendous prize. Whoever wins this match will go on to bowl George Pappas. If he gets 2 strikes, they will tie 2-frame roll-off.
And the loser has to settle for $6,000. Has to.
Not a bad week's work.
No. Up high, left the 4-pin, and that's it. Earl Anthony has won his second match here in the AMF Magicscore Open at the beautiful landmark lanes in Peoria. 236 for Anthony, 226 for Moser.
Where can you find someone to service all the parts of your car with the know-how and equipment to check wheels, brakes, engine, suspension, almost everything? Someone who'll give you a written estimate and fix only what you want fixed. Firestone Car Service. That's where. 24,000 Firestone car service bays are waiting to serve you. For this week's specials, check your newspaper.
When our band's cooking, the music smokes. But not me, because like a lot of my friends, I use Skoal smokeless tobacco. I just take a pinch of that good-tasting wintergreen flavored Skoal between my cheek and gum, and it gives me real tobacco pleasure without ever lighting up. So when you want something that smokes, listen to the Charlie Daniels Band. But when you want real tobacco enjoyment without smoking, try Skoal. A pinch is all it takes. Thank you. We appreciate it.
The coal is America's great energy resource, and digging for it still takes a lot of hard-working muscles, sometimes sore, aching muscles.
I need Absorbine Junior. Just massage it in. Its warmth penetrates, soaks deep down, relaxes and loosens up sore, stiff muscles.
I use Absorbine Junior once in a while when I get a touch of arthritic pain.
Ah, great.
Use Absorbine Junior. It's hard-working medicine for sore, aching muscles.
Earl Anthony, a name synonymous with the very best in bowling, has won 2 matches, 189 to 141 over Mike Albee, the young great. He came back with 8 strikes to oust Paul Moser, 236 to 226. Bowling like the champion he is, and it'll be a real test here against the right-hander, the president of the PBA, George Pappas. And that match, Nelson, is coming up right now at the Landmark Lanes, a house of 50 here in Peoria, Illinois.
Chris, this is a 42-game format this week. We had 500 juniors that participated in the Pro-Am, and my congratulations go out to young Mike Lichstein, who is the son of PBA player directive Larry Lichstein, who won the Pro-Am. He's a sensational young star, and a good future headed up for him.
And you know, I had the pleasure way back working with a lot of junior bowlers, and that program, which Mike Albee is sort of a product of, let me tell you, it's really worthwhile. So in your area, if you youngsters have a chance, get out there and do it.
Earl Anthony starting the match, first stroke. That was Pappas just finishing his practice shots.
Anthony's 15th strike of our live telecast. Doing it here in the 3rd game. 2 victories now going against George Pappas, 33 years old, 6 titles, and a tough right-hander. And that outside line, leaving the 2-8 on the right lane.
The diversified angles the players have played towards the pocket today, a very, very fair and equal condition for both righties and lefties this week. Pappas is outside, Earl Anthony's outside. You'll watch our tournament leader, Roy Buckley, is playing an inside line, so it's a choose your own spot and throw the ball well.
50 pounds lighter than Earl Anthony. And the current president of the Professional Bowlers Association, George Pappas, we asked him how it affected his game.
I was chairman of the tournament committee for 3 years prior to becoming president, and the responsibilities were great in both positions. And as chairman, I learned how to bowl and concentrate on my bowling when I was bowling, and then when it was time to discuss business, then I was able to separate the two.
All right. The native of Charlotte, North Carolina. Well, there's a 6-7-10 for the Prexy.
As we've seen before, Chris, that outside line, extremely good pin carry, but when you pull the ball or roll it a little too quickly, you'll leave a wide open split. It's a dangerous angle when you go high, 6-7-10.
12-year member of the PBA, 6 titles, 15 300 games in his career. Only in horseshoes. Close. So it's an open frame for Pappas, 26 through 2. Anthony open to the strike, now shooting in the 2nd frame. He's on the right lane of our championship pair. Won his first match today, 189 to Mike Alby's 141, and Mike had 5 open frames. Then Anthony defeated Moser 236 to 226 with 8 strikes.
Following the same pattern he had last week in the Rolaids Open. Earl, a little shaky the first game, but once he got it going, has been awfully tough.
And speaking of Rolaids, our bowling tip of the week with you, Bo, will be on the grip tip. 3 in a row. That's the way he opened the last game with 3-bagger, and then he closed with 5 in a row. 4 in a row.
George Pappas in the 24 match game play won all 8 matches Friday morning, averaging a sensational 246. So you know he can throw the strikes when he gets it going.
And George, who finished 5th in the Quaker State Open in Grand Prairie, Texas.
The classic style of Pappas, 5-step delivery. Watch his shoulders and arm swing in perfect position. Look at that. You just cannot do it any better. Shoulder level with the swing, straight through with the arm. Good follow through and knee bend, really high with that hand. And one other thing, Chris, he moved to an inside line on a right-hand lane that time, so he's made an adjustment after the first 2 frames.
Last title, a great one. Firestone Tournament of Champions for George, 79. Leaving the 6-7 now in the left lane.
Same result as he had before. We saw the left-handers in the first match. Albee and Anthony both have trouble with this lane going high, and we see the first right-hander today, George Pappas, going high, leaving the 6-7. And Chris, going back that 1979 Firestone victory for Pappas, that's the last time he has won a game in a championship round. He is 0-6 since then. Looks like he's heading for 0-7.
Close. 2 open frames now for George Pappas. He's going against Earl Anthony. More of the semifinal in a moment.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Trouble spots like these are what separate Gillette Atra from all ordinary razors. The reason? The Atra pivot. It keeps the blades at a perfect shaving angle, giving you a better shave than any razor that can't pivot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many more reasons do you need? Gillette Atra, the pivot makes it better.
Gillette, when it comes to shaving, we give you the edge.
Every professional bowler has an arsenal of his own. Special weapons for special lane conditions. Now, you can have your own arsenal in just 2 bowling balls from AMF. The AMF 3-Dot Classic in hard rubber for normal lane conditions. And now the AMF 3-Dot Classic in soft rubber for lanes that demand more traction. Hard rubber 3-Dot, soft rubber 3-Dot. The arsenal from AMF.
Next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, the mystifying feats of the Chinese acrobats of Canton. The West Coast roars at the Winter Nationals, and America's dazzling new champions perform. Acrobatic artistry and poetry on ice. ABC's Wide World of Sports is next.
Yes, the incredible Chinese acrobats, drag racing, and the United States National Figure Skating Champions. Earl Anthony, winner of 2. Looking for 4 in a row. So that makes closing with 4 and his second win of the afternoon. He has struck 4 here, so it's 8 in a row. 54-pin lead. Ooh.
Awesome. Wife Susie, she knows how to tell a score. Match well in hand.
Come on. Put it down there.
Inside and out. What a picture.
Trajectory of Earl Anthony from low camera. Watch this ball straight through. Now, you don't need any sideboards on this one. As you see, every pin taken out nice and neat.
We're going to have a special match between you and Earl. No sideboards. Bert and Anthony. Oh, that was needed by George Pappas of Charlotte, coming in the 5th frame.
George in a much situation, trailing by 64 pins after just 5 frames. Sorry, 66. He could cut that lead to 56.
In the 6th frame, the man that's won nearly $500,000 bowling professionally, while his opponent today, Earl Anthony, $814,071 in his career.
Chris, while we have a moment here, I'd like to send condolences of all the PBA players to Wayne Zahn over the death of his father, Earl, in the past week. One of the sensational men in the game of bowling, Earl Zahn.
74 through 5, a spare in the 6th, 66-pin lead. 5 in a row. Anthony, 6th frame. 7. Five more.
Earl not saying much now, but the last time that Earl had 11 in a row on television was at the Cleveland Open. And he left a solid 9.
You're down here.
Oh, there's the big 7. But round of applause, appreciation for a 6-bagger.
Watch the 4-pin just lay in the channel. Not quite. Give the left tap to the 7. 2nd pin on the left-hand side of your screen. There it goes. Not quite the solid 7, but Earl's happy with it.
Earl Anthony rolling the blue ball, hoping for a 2nd win in as many weeks. Here's the tournament leader, Tough Roy Buckley, born in Columbus, Ohio. Right-hander, as you saw. Here's only the 2nd in this field of 5 from the right side. Spare up, 7th frame. 3rd strike for George Pappas in this semifinal match, the winner to meet the tournament leader for the title.
Pappas going at a 1:74 pace. The best he can do is 2:14. Anthony in the 2:40 pace right now. You know, Chris, the bowlers play 16 straight weeks here on ABC before we have a break. And in the summer, George Pappas runs a professional bowling camp in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, which is a great learning program for some of the young players who are interested.
So he gets his first double. But Anthony still leads by 65 here in the semifinal game. And he, if you just joined us, had a 6-bagger marked to the spare in the 7th. Now Anthony shooting in the 8th frame in Peoria. Well, that one didn't play in Peoria.
Susie Anthony checking the scoreboard, see if there's any possibility that Earl could lose this match. All he needs is to convert his spares.
And covering the 3-4 as you should do it.
Here's some of the other finalists. Carmen Salvino, who had a great week. He also had a tremendous article in the financial section of the Chicago Tribune last week. Larry Lobb, who was in the U.S. Open, bowled well this week again. Mike Durbin and Pete Weber right up there, steady as ever. Hartman up there, Ralph. Ted Hanna's up there, Paul Caldwell, Richard Martinez.
Big foundation strike for the leader of this semifinal game. Earl Anthony leading by 63 as his helpless opponent looks up. It's been awesome. Earl Anthony, the way he's been gone through 3 opponents now. First Mike Albee, 189 to 141. Then Paul Moser, 236 to 226. Pappas with a double up shooting in the 9th. coming up next, Earl Anthony versus Roy Buckley. The Pro Bowlers Tour will continue after this message from one of our sponsors and station identification. And here at the Landmark Lanes in Peoria, Earl Anthony has won 3 in a row. His last win over George Pappas, 247 to 214, and now meets the tournament leader, Roy Buckley. Well, after you get the bowling ball and the shoes, the next step, the first step you must learn is the grip. Nelson Burton Jr. in our Rolaids Bowling Tip of the Week will tell you all about the grip. So be sure and watch and listen. It'll help your game.
The Pro Bowlers Tour Tip of the Week is brought to you by Rolaids.
2 questions I often hear in my travels around the country is what grip should I use and what position should my fingers be in? There are 2 things to consider here. Number 1, the position of the fingers inside the ball, and number 2, the position of the fingers outside the ball. Let's take a look at the position inside the ball. There are 3 basic grips available to all players. Number 1, the conventional grip, where the knuckles are inserted to the second knuckle in the finger holes. This is excellent for beginners and increases your accuracy. The second grip we can look at is the semi-fingertip grip. This is where the knuckles are placed in between the first and second knuckle. This increases your power, and also you give away a little bit in accuracy. And finally, the third grip available is the fingertip grip. This is a grip that many of the pros use, increases your power, and you have a lot of trouble with accuracy. Now let's look at the second point, the fingers outside the ball. What I feel is the most comfortable is any position that you like. Some players like to put their fingers right next to the fingers in the hole, others like to spread it out wide, others like to tuck their pinky for more leverage and control. Remember, when choosing your grip, the conventional grip for accuracy and the fingertip grip for power.
We asked Roger Staubach to find out how people spell relief.
How do you spell relief?
For acid indigestion, R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
For heartburn, R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
Rolaids really does spell relief.
Like a sponge, Rolaids antacid medicine consumes 100% of the acid required to give millions 100% relief.
How do you spell relief?
For acid indigestion, R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
For millions of Americans, Rolaids spells 100% relief.
The live telecast is from Peoria, Illinois. And we go into the title match now because Earl Anthony has won 3 in a row and now meets the tournament leader, 37-year-old Roy Buckley. 12-year PBA member Buckley with 6 titles. Here's a man with 33 titles, 35 second-place finishes. Last week when he won in Florissant, Missouri, the Rolaids Open, he came from 3rd to do it. He came from 5th to this point.
Right back at it. Earl trying to be the second player to win back-to-back victories this year. Marshall Holman did it at the Quaker State and then the U.S. Open. Earl Anthony won the Rolaids. He's going after the AMF Magicscore Classic here.
Who's had this long wait as the tournament leader comes right out from the right side with a strike on the right lane.
And you said a long wait, Chris. This could be a little vengeance for Buckley. His first appearance on a Pro Bowlers Telecast championship round was in 1971 when he was a top seed. He lost to Earl Anthony, 226-181, just 10 years ago.
And Roy's glad to be back. Last appearance was in 1979. Buckley. 79 captured the $100,000 Firestone 721 Classic. And now here's a man who's had great success in winning back-to-back, qualified number 5 for today's live telecast. He's won 3 matches, 8 strikes, and the last one shooting a 247 to Pappas's 214. And he has a double. Earlier, we asked Earl Anthony at 42 years of age how long he could compete at that age.
I am 42, but I think the key for me is to just stay strong physically and keep my desire. I feel like I'm bowling well, but I think the reason I'm bowling well right now is not physically as good as I was maybe 5 years ago, but I feel that emotionally and knowledge-wise, I'm a better player than I was 5 years ago.
Well said. Seems like a very happy man. Three-bagger. Earl Anthony, who has won back-to-back PBA titles 4 times in his career. Wow.
And here's a man who cannot be intimidated, Roy Buckley, a true winner. He's an opportunistic guy, tough in the clutch.
All but the 10-pin on the right laying after opening with a double for Roy Buckley, who's 5'11", weighs 155 pounds.
Roy has actually gained weight over the years, Chris. He used to smoke and had a collapsed lung in Hawaii a few years back. It kind of scared him off. He quit smoking and put on some weight and looks a lot stronger.
Very little expression on this profile as he bowls in this replay, Nelson.
Full length of the approach, very short backswing. Buckley lets it wrist roll back in a flat position and doesn't throw the power ball, but accuracy is his forte. Straight through at the 10-pin on that shot, hit it right in the middle.
Well, a 6-pin now, trailing by 12. 6-pin on the left lane.
The first player to get a good break when he hit a high hit on the left-hand lane. He had the 6-7 also standing as some of the other players and got a break, knocked out the 7. Easy spare, the 6-pin.
All right, a spare for Roy Buckley in the 4th frame, trailing Earl Anthony by 12. More of the final game after this.
When I was coaching, I was the boss. I used to feed them, dress them, get them to bed on time. Now I treat them to our favorite beer, right?
Like beer from Miller.
It's got a 1/3 less calories than the regular beer. And what else?
It's less filling, Red.
And they really like the taste. Another beer, anyone?
Yeah. Do it.
What's the magic word? Please.
Like beer from Miller, everything you always wanted in a beer, and less. Inside Firestone's newest 721 radial are 2 belts of steel cord. In each cord, 10 strands of high-strength steel. 7 strands around 2, wrapped by 1. 721. Because it's a metric radial, it can use more air, so you use less gas. We call it the Fuel Fighter, designed to save you more gas than any steel-belted radial tire Firestone has ever built. Firestone's newest 721, the Fuel Fighter.
Here in Peoria on the Illinois River, Earl Anthony of Dublin, California, and our little man made a booming strike there in the AMF Magicscore Open. Earl has won 3 matches in convincing fashion. He has a 3-bagger up shooting in the 4th frame in the title match head-to-head. 4 in a row. Earl Anthony. There it is again, Nelson.
Watch the 3-pin and the sideboard do their action. 3 chops into the 6-10, knocks him out. And Chris, that's one of the reasons a super player like Anthony can get hot like he was in the Rolaids and here in the AMF Magicscore. When he starts carrying that high hit, instead of leaving the 6 or getting a split, he leaves the pocket wide open. Buckley looking at the ground, but he knows the score.
Look at that management of his setting up. It's beautiful. Dazzling them here at Ray Becker's Landmark Recreation Plaza.
Anthony said he wants to take over #1. He said it last week, and he's well on his way to getting right up there with Roth and Holman. Leads by 32.
And the Buckeye makes a strike in the 5th frame. He opened with a double, 2 spares, and Roy Buckley, the tournament leader. At the moment, 32 pins can cut it to 22. Capacity crowd watching here in Peoria.
Buckley will not lay down and roll over, one of the great competitive match game players on the PBA Tour. But he's got his back to the wall now, trails by 32, needs a strike here to cut it to 22.
Oh, it's just a high hit. leaving the 6, 9, 10 for Buckley. It's only Mark Roth finished in 70th place. Marshall Holman took a week off.
70th place doesn't pay any money this week, Chris. Mark missed the cash. 48th place was $840. And our statistician, Palmer Falgren, 46, $855.
All right. There's 108 through the 5th, the spare, and the 6th for Buckley.
And some of the other players. Gil Sliker bowling steady. Bowler of the Year, Wayne Webb. Steve Martin, who had a 300 game this week. Joe Berardi, just strong and steady as ever. Ray DeLuca, Jim Godman, and Bob Kowalik from Pastime Lanes. It's also a name from the past, Chris. 24th place.
Earl Anthony, who has never won a television tournament from 4th or 5th position. And the man has a 6-bagger. He went from 3rd to win last week, and he is today, and in most cases, awesome.
Same position he was in the last game against George Pappas. He had the first 6th and left a 7-pin in the 7th frame. Just absolutely sensational the way he can drill that 1-3 pocket. Living proof that accuracy is #1 in this game.
Nelson, 28 strikes thus far today for Anthony.
Down that lane.
Well, the crowd tells you, and our excellent coverage shows you the 7th strike in a row.
No sideboards needed here. The pins will do the talking. Bingo.
And Buckley answers with a 7th frame strike, 128 through 6. But I'll tell you, it's tough when you're going against perfection.
52 pins down, 8th frame. Buckley has a possible 248. Don't count him out, but this is a must situation, 8th frame. He must strike here to put any pressure on Anthony at all.
Like that, a double. The lead is now 42 pins, and Anthony is up with a 7-bagger.
You know, Chris, oftentimes when a player gets a big string like this at the start of the game, they start thinking about the perfect game. But Earl is still thinking about winning the match, which gives him a better chance to continue his consecutive strings.
Get a break.
And the string ends at 7, a high hit. 2-4-7. Well, the PBA, if anyone bowls a 300 on our telecast, Nelson, 10,000, but it's elusive.
Very true, but this match is not over either. Earl must continue to fill the frames to shut out Buckley. Buckley still, remember, has a possible 248.
All right, for Anthony, it's 197 through the 7th with a spare in the 8th frame and the 9th foundation coming up. To those of you watching your screen and able to see it, 39 pins now. At one time, it was 52.
Now look at the scoreboard. Put in 2 strikes for Roy Buckley, and the match is very close. Earl Anthony, the left-handed washout, the 1-3-6-7. If Earl does not convert this, Buckley can come up and take the lead with strikes in the 9th, 10th, and 11th.
2-1 for the professionals to convert this. Now the lead has been cut to 24. Wow, the pin flying around that.
Don't count the Sphinx out. He's still in a must situation. But if he strikes here, he cuts Anthony's lead to just 14 pins. Look at that look in his eyes.
All but the 4, 7 on the right lane, and the husband of Alice and the father of Angie upset that he didn't get them all.
And he yelled back, his dad did it, and he's right. Earl Anthony is at 222 already through the 9th frame. Best Buckley could bowl is 226. He sure gave Anthony a run for his money, and Anthony knew he had a tiger by the tail. Both players going over to check the scoreboard. The situation is this. Buckley, the best he can do is 226. Anthony already has 222. A disgusted Roy Buckley. He's not used to losing, but he didn't lose today. He was beaten. It's a big difference.
Frame too late. And there is the man that came from number 5 position. First time in his career. And remember, won last week his 33rd PBA championship.
Buckley will be in the 220s. A disappointed man. 220 in that championship game is usually a winner. I'll tell you, Anthony just has had it so good in the last 2 weeks. Just carried almost all his shots, and it's just been awesome. Roy has nothing to be discouraged about except a little bit of money difference from that 1 and 2 spot.
And Anthony pulled within $4,000 of the money lead behind Marshall Holman. A 223 for Roy Buckley of Columbus, Ohio. The applause is for Earl Anthony. They like excellence in Peoria, an old city, a thriving city, a lot of new life being thrown into it. New construction. Earl Anthony moving along, just waiting now for the final score to be in the 240s to Roy Buckley's 223.
Sensational performance by Earl both weeks. Once he got by, the first game has just been awesome. Only missed the pocket twice in the last 3 games.
Of 242, 236, 247, and 189, the champion. 242 to 223. We'll be back to talk with the winner after this.
Ford has some hot news for fan buyers. No matter how you slice it, for 1981, Ford is out front again. Ford's out front design gives more turnaround room inside. Plus, unbeaten estimated MPG. And the best highway rating of them all. And Ford backs all this up with big payloads, too. Yes, when you put it all together, you get one tough van out front where it counts. Is it any wonder Ford's America's best-selling van? Come in now and check out the deals during your Ford dealer's big leadership celebration.
STP, a big name in racing for nearly 20 years. STP oil treatment on the track in some of the world's most expensive engines. Around the track, around the world, every day, tens of thousands of people get STP oil treatment. Get it for your car. Satisfaction guaranteed. Around the track, around the world, STP oil treatment is #1.
David Lacey keeps an eye on nature for Dutch Master cigars. In this Caribbean aging room, he's checking fine tobacco naturally fermenting. If it's too dry, it ferments too slowly. If it's too warm, it overheats and ferments too quickly.
Okay, I'll turn it today.
But a master like Lacey can make nature behave, so fine tobacco can become a fine cigar.
Needs a little more time.
Try our Panatella. There really are masters at Dutch Masters.
Quite a performance by Earl Anthony today, winning his 2nd straight on the Pro Bowlers Tour. We'll be going back in just a minute
so Chris can have a word with the winner today. Couple of college basketball scores for you. 4th-ranked LSU extended its winning streak to 24 games by defeating 9th-ranked Tennessee by a single point, 66-65, back in Knoxville, Tennessee. That was Tennessee's first home defeat of the season. It also assured LSU of a Southeastern Conference championship. Elsewhere in college basketball, 13th-ranked North Carolina beat Clemson 75-61 at Chapel Hill. Al Wood was the high scorer there for North Carolina with 23 points. Now, as the weeks have gone by this winter, we've been trying to keep you up to date on the hot horses looking towards this year's Kentucky Derby and Preakness Stakes. And the hottest one so far has been the 2-year-old champion, Lord Avey. Now, as a matter of fact, last Monday at Gulfstream Park, the pre-Derby favorites were at it again on the Florida circuit, the Fountain of Youth Stakes. Now, Lord Avey, the 2-year-old champion, winner of the Hutchison Stakes, went off as a 2-5 favorite. Let's pick up Ross Morton's call at the head of the stretch.
Now as they move toward the top of the stretch, Accuray jigs alarm. Their noses apart for the lead. Lindlore now moving between horses, and here comes Lord Avey on the outside with a bold move. It's Lord Avey coming on after the leaders. Accuray has the lead. Lord Avey closing on the outside. Pleasant Colony moving on the rail. It's Lord Avey. 3 horses across the track. Pleasant Colony in between horses. Accuray. Accuray will call it a headwind. Tight for second between Pleasant Colony and Lord Avey.
Well, despite the defeat, Lord Avey's trainer, Danny Perlsweig, said he's not worried at all. Things are going on schedule. His next big race will be the Florida Derby coming up in early March. So there you see the prices in that race, which took place, remember, last Monday at Gulfstream Park in Florida. We said we'd be going back to Peoria, Illinois, where for a word with today's winner, with Earl Anthony, after 2 in a row on the Pro Bowlers Tour. We're going to do that. Chris Schenkel.
And this is the way they finished at the landmark bowling facility, finest we've seen. Anthony, 20,000. Roy Buckley, 11. Pappas, 7,500. Moser, 6. And Mike Albee at $5,000. And the question has been answered. Can Anthony play in Peoria?
I love it here, Chris. I love it. Stands are fantastic. The lanes are beautiful. The whole setup is fantastic.
Well, Woody Woodruff, AMF, a name synonymous with bowling. He's the bowling group vice president, has a nice check.
Earl, all of us at AMF are proud to have you as our champion, as the winner of the AMF Magicscore Open. And I don't know whether to give this check to you or to Susie.
We'll give it to Susie. She'll give me an allowance out of it.
All right, Susie.
And now this great facility, the man that conceived it, he's the proprietor, Ray Becker. I know you have a beautiful trophy, and what a champion you have at this facility.
Thank you. I want to thank AMF for being our sponsors, and congratulations, Earl.
Thank you, Ray. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Chris, can I say one thing? My son just had an operation on his knee in a hospital. I hope he really likes this. He's going to watch it this afternoon on the West Coast.
5th time you won back-to-back. That's got to help make him heal in a hurry.
Well, he's a hell of a fine kid, and I just hope he comes out of it all right. It's just a knee operation, but I don't want him to have any problems with it.
Got a great dad.
Thank you, Chris.
And keep winning. All right. So, once again, the winner of the $125,000 AMF Magicscore Open is Earl Anthony, win number 34. Today's program was produced by Kurt Gowdy Jr., directed by John DeLissa, technical director Bob Bernthal, associate director Kathy Cook. Now this is Chris Schenkel along with Nelson Burton Jr. saying so long from Peoria, Illinois. Stay tuned next over most of these ABC stations for ABC's Wide World of Sports featuring the Chinese acrobats. Maumee River is the site for today's PBA National Championship. There's been an illustrious field of past winners, including the very first champion Don Carter in 1960, Billy Hardwick, the 1963 champion, 1965 and 67 champion Dave Davis, 2-time winner Wayne Zahn, 1969 and 70 champion Mike McGrath, 3-time winner Earl Anthony, and last year's champion Johnny Petraglia, who with his victory became the only bowler in PBA history since Billy Hardwick to capture each of the Triple Crown events. Who will be this year's PBA National Champion? We'll find out today. Live for the 20th consecutive year, ABC Sports presents The Pro Bowlers Tour today, the championship finals of the $135,000 PBA National Championship, as these top 5 bowlers compete for the $21,000 first prize. In 5th place from Burleson, Texas, last year's PBA National Champion runner-up Gary Dickinson. In 4th place from Tenton Falls, New Jersey, winner of 18 PBA titles, Dave Davis. In 3rd place from Vancouver, USA, Washington, making his 3rd appearance in the championship finals this year, Ernie Schlegel. In 2nd place from St. Louis, Missouri, a great champion winner of 26 PBA titles, Dick Weber. And our leader, shooting for an unprecedented 4th PBA National Championship, Earl Anthony. And live, ladies and gentlemen, we show you the entrance to the Imperial Lanes, and we've had the good fortune of coming here for 13 years. That's right. After a lapse of a few, we're back this year, and I'm Chris Schenkel on the approaches, which is the site of the PBA National Championship. And this is the first jewel in bowling's Triple Crown. A few weeks ago, United States Open was won by Marshall Holman to set up the first of the 3. This is the second, the PBA National Championship. And then in a few weeks, the Firestone Tournament of Champions. And you know, after 56 games, you'd expect veterans to get into the finals, because that's a grueling test. And that is the case today. In the 5, we have an average age of 41. A total of 87 titles. That's right. And in the group of 5, we have 3 PBA Hall of Famers. I'm delighted now to have you meet one of the legends of bowling, one of those Hall of Famers, as we go to another Hall of Famer, my colleague, Nelson Burton Jr. Bo?
And with me is Dick Weber, Chris. Dick, you won in 1959, you won in the 60s, you won in the 70s, and today you could be the first bowler in professional history to win titles in 4 decades. Really, what do you owe that longevity in this game of bowling to?
Well, Bo, first of all, I owe a lot to the good fortune, the good breaks in the bowling game, and the wonderful people that give me the support, but also I can't forget my family that encouraged me and put up with my bad bowling as well as my good bowling, and so that makes it easier. And you know, just the sport itself, I just want to keep on going and win as much as I possibly can. I hope I'm out here another 10 years anyway.
Dick, you said the last couple of years have been a little bad. You haven't done so well this year, and yet today you're in contention to win your first national championship. What is it that makes you bowl so well in Toledo?
Well, this track house, it's a track house, and it fits my type of bowling. I can throw hard and keep the ball in play, in the pocket, and hope the carry is there for me. Of course, you've got 4 other hungry young gentlemen out there that won the title as bad as I do, so I'm going to give it all I got.
Chris, Dick's on the right track, and he may win his first national championship today.
All right, 2 fine fellows from St. Louis, and incidentally, Bo finished 11th, so he took a sizable amount of money out of the purse, which totaled $135,000 this week. And this afternoon live on our head-to-head coverage, the winner will get $21,000, the runner-up 11, and the money breakdown is 6 for 3rd, 5 for 4th, and 5th, $4,500. Stay tuned, head-to-head in our first match from Texas, Gary Dickinson against Dave Davis from New Jersey. Coming up next.
We are very proud of you, Peabody. Thank you, sir. Your design of the Firestone 721 is brilliant.
Well,
a tire using 7 around 2 wrapped by 1. Genius.
Oh.
24 million on the road, Peabody. And we're grateful.
Chief,
Just one more thing.
Sure.
Now, Peabody, we want you to top it.
Top it?
The Firestone 721. It's one tough tire to top.
Hey, there it is. What in the blazes is that thing?
This is one of them new small models.
Ride good?
Good, rides great. Got me some Monroe-matic shocks. Little big shocks from Monroe.
Little big shocks?
Yep, best ride I ever had.
Of course, them's Monroe's.
Darn tootin' Monroe little big shocks. Even fits imports.
Imports? What's import?
Small car, America rides Monroe.
The great All-American Workshop sale is back. Special offers on name brand tools you want most for your home and car. Like these Cooper Group tools. Get this handy little utility hacksaw free when you buy a Lufkin Ultralock measuring tape. And get this 8-inch Nicholson file free when you buy Wiss Metal Master snips. So don't wait. Visit a participating hardware home center store now and save at the great All-American Workshop sale.
360 bowlers started here. Now we're down to the final 5. In position number 5, Gary Dickinson from Burleson, Texas, in the first match will go head-to-head against Dave Davis of Tenton Falls, New Jersey. This is live. You either win or you leave. So here is Dave Davis, and Nelson Burton Jr. here is a great 18-time champion and a colorful left-hander.
2 national titles to his credit.
Twice the PBA champion, Dave Davis, has opened with a powerful strike. And now we look at even taller, 6'4" Gary Dickinson of Burleson, Texas, runner-up in last year's championship. Well, he got all but the 10-pin on the right lane.
Chris, this pair of lanes, as we said before, are more like the old style we saw in the 50s and 60s. One of the reasons we have such an experienced field. They're what we call a track lane condition on the right and a down and in shot on the left.
Cross lane. All right, and Gary Dickinson has marked with his pair. He was in the same position last year. We asked him what his chances were this year.
Yeah, I feel like if I get off to a good start and start stroking the ball and I can get lucky and win the first match, that I would definitely have a chance to go all the way, because I feel like the guy that won the match has a slight advantage over the people coming in.
Gary Dickinson, 215 average this week. On this pair, however, the championship pair, 198 on the left lane. Another 10-pin plagued by it.
Chris, a hit we haven't seen much that the players leave that much this week is the solid 10. These lanes are in ideal championship shape, and the hit we see quite often is the weak 10, but the solid 10, not very often.
So again, cross lane, Dickinson. Winner of this match will meet Ernie Schlegel. And in one of the most titled fields ever, the winner of our second game will go against Dick Weber, and the winner of that semifinal will meet Earl Anthony, the tournament leader. Now Davis, hoping to double. Right lane, second frame. High hit, avoided the split.
Both players experienced, very used to the championship round, and it's just a matter of who bowls the best today. Davis laid that ball a little short, broke very sharply, almost left the 6-8 cutting through, the 3-pin taking out the 6.
Last time we saw David on our live telecast, he lost from the top-seeded position in last year's Midas. So for Davis, it's a strike and a spare in our very first game from the Imperial Lanes in Toledo, Ohio, the glass capital of the world. Davis with a 1-pin lead will be shooting on the left lane now. Capacity crowd. Crowds like you can't imagine all week long, Bo, here where you finished 11th.
Chris, 56-game format, the long national tour format. We start on Sunday with practice all the way down to this Saturday.
Right back, as he did in the opening frame on the same lane, a strike. And now Dickinson, who is marked with 2 spares, he'll be shooting in the 3rd frame.
An interesting thing about this pair of lanes, the right-hand lane, lane 26, is slicker for the right-handers and hooks more for the left-handers. And the left-hand lane is slicker for the left-handers and hooks more for the righties. I'll explain the reason why in a moment.
Not quite leaving the 4.
You see that slick spot that Dickinson's ball just slid by. The reason being is when these lanes are resurfaced every 2 years, there's the leaders for the 7 rounds. When these pair of lanes are resurfaced or cut by a resurfacer to cut off the old wood and grain, they use a new pad on the left lane and an old one on the right lane, and so they don't come out exactly equal, and it really makes for good championship bowling.
So Gary Dickinson, born in Oklahoma, where he's an all-state high school basketball player. He's 6'4", 180 pounds. Now we'll shoot in the 4th frame. Last year, a great year, 1980, winning $62,000, which ranked him 6th on the year's money list.
And who can forget how unlucky he was in that final round of the championship at Firestone last year when he hit the pocket on almost every ball and still lost to Wayne Webb.
So now he'll have to shoot a 7. So he's getting a lot of spare shooting experience here. 2 10s, a 4, and now a 7 on the left lane.
Dickinson with that 2-finger style at the spares to kill the roll.
All right. Past PBA champion Dave Sutar, 1961.
North club's clear and head wall's clear.
I guess it's Wheeler time. Last one down buys.
Right. I can taste that free beer now.
When it's time to relax.
What took you so long?
One beer stands clear, Miller beer, if you got the time. We've got the beer.
Here comes the tough new 1981 Ford. Once again, Ford's got the jump on its competition. Yes, Ford has the jump with the only pickup with estimated MPG this high and 2,500-pound payloads. Ford has the jump with the longest range of any pickup. Nobody has mileage and range this high with payload this big. See the tough 1981 Ford. It's got the jump on its competitors to give you the jump where it counts. At the pump.
Are America's champions Elaine Zayak and Scott Hamilton the world's best? Well, next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, we'll be in Hartford, Connecticut to find out at the World Figure Skating Championships as we cover the ladies and men's finals. ABC's Wide World of Sports is next.
Be sure and watch Wide World. World Figure Skating, men's and ladies finals, and the Florida Derby, a preview of what could happen at the Derby. All right, Henry Gonzalez, another fine professional, finished 6th, the alternate. He can only watch along with you.
Davis leads by 3 pins. With a double here, he could extend his lead to 13.
Dave hasn't won for a long time, and we asked him why he's been a non-winner.
Well, 3 years ago, I bought a bowling center in New Jersey, and it's just detracted from my bowling game. My concentration on the tour hasn't been good enough because when you're out here, naturally you worry about what's happening back home. It's a great investment, and when I am home, I don't have time to practice. So now that it's running well, I can devote a little bit more time to practicing and working on my physical game.
Super 38-year-old pro. The twice winner of the Firestone Tournament of Champions makes it a 3-bagger and now a 23-pin lead.
And wife Joanne liked that reaction. Dave carried the wall shot in the 4th frame and tripped the 6th in the 5th. What a great break. Dickinson, all 4 balls have been around the pocket. Never count this man out.
Gary finished 5th in this year's Miller High Life Classic, losing to eventual winner Steve Martin in a 2-frame roll-off after tying 2:22. Took him 5 frames to get everything needed to strike, and Gary Dickinson now.
A camera from the back. Watch the release of Gary Dickinson. Fingers underneath the ball and rotation at the last minute. You see the thumb coming out, and look at the fingers lifting right up through the ball with the ball lofted about 6 to 8 inches over the foul line. That was just a perfect shot.
7 titles. His opponent, Dave Davis, 18 titles. 2 of the 5 finalists, whose titles total 87. Third 10-pin of this head-to-head match. Our live coverage from Toledo.
Once again, Dickinson does not get a good break. He rolled that ball very well. The 10-pin's still wiggling down there, and yet he's still behind in the match. Cross lane. You have to be a little firmer on this lacquer or track condition when you go across that track area so you don't lose the ball to the left.
All right, the father of 2, Gary Dickinson. You can sit down now, and Davis is up 23-pin lead, 6th frame, 3 in a row. Let's get a profile replay of tall, lanky Dave Davis.
One of the great arm swings in the game of bowling. Dave Davis at 6'2" and 155. Locks that elbow all the way at the top, just a little above shoulder level. Now watch when he comes through how he stays locked with that elbow and the tremendous extension out over the line. Davis with 18 titles, 2 national championships, Firestone victory on his belt. When you have that great form, Chris, it makes the game pretty easy.
And with a 33-pin lead, Davis, who was voted into the PBA Hall of Fame in 1978, is on the left lane now. 4-bagger working. Five in a row for 38-year-old Dave Davis. His wife, Joanne, watching. There is, wait just a moment.
How do you grow a great cigar? Master planter Ralph Merrill knows. Plant special Dutch Masters tobacco seedlings in a fertile valley. Control the searing sun with clouds of special cloth. And wait. Now select only the best leaves and harvest them all by hand. That's how Ralph Merrill grows a great cigar. Like the Dutch Masters Corona Deluxe. There really are masters at Dutch Masters.
You want your car to be a shining example of quality. So insist on top quality Napa brand parts, because lots of Napa brand parts are better than your car's original parts. Case closed. When the name is Napa, the standard is quality.
Join us next Saturday on ABC as the Pro Bowlers Tour travels to Milwaukee, Wisconsin for the $125,000 Miller High Life Open. Alvin Liu will be on hand to defend his title against Bowling's best. The Pro Bowlers Tour live next Saturday at 3:30 Eastern Time, exclusively on ABC.
And Bo, one of the few times a foul in our telecast in 20 years.
Dave Davis shooting for a spare on this shot, a full rack. And what a difference that makes, Chris. If he had carried this strike on the shot he fouled, he would have had a 43-pin lead. And here's the foul. Watch his foot. He slips, and see it just break that line right across the foul line. Now, that ball was a strike, but the foul deletes it as the same as a channel ball or 0. And what that does, with Davis getting 9, has taken his lead from a potential 43 down to just 11 pins through 7 frames.
Bo, I'd forgotten, you know what that feels like, don't you?
I had a couple of fouls. I had one in 1967 against the great Joe Joseph, and then I donated a victory to Jay Robinson in Denver a few years back with a foul. And all that is, Chris, is just getting out of time, not testing the approach, and slipping a little too much.
All right. Now Gary Dickinson trailing by only 11. And jumps right on it. He had a spare working for him. So it gives him 117 through the 6th. And a strike up in the 7th, and now a double could cut the lead to 1.
Second last year's PBA National Championship, second in last year's Firestone. We said earlier Dickinson has not been getting any good breaks in the championship round, but today he got as good a break as I've ever seen. Dave Davis had him on the ropes, could have knocked him out there in the 7th frame with another strike, slid over the foul line. Now Dickinson can cut Davis's lead down to just 1 pin with another strike.
Started off the tournament in 3rd, dropped to 19th, and came back to finish 5th. This is the first match live from Toledo. All right. These professionals are tremendous at jumping on an opportunity. As Dickinson has just done, the lead has been cut to 1. Now, after open frame, a foul, it's the 8th frame for Dave Davis. And a high hit, leaving the 4-7.
Very tentative on that shot after sliding over the foul line. It's such a rare thing to see a pro slide over the foul line. It'll be interesting to see what Dave has to say about that shot. Usually a pro will stick from stepping in water or something. My wife Joanne, she's an excellent bowler herself, knows the situation.
And with the same smoothness that this man has had, an 18-year member of the PBA, he covers the 4-7 in the big foundation 9th frame coming up.
Scoreboard tells the story. 1 pin separating these two great champions. First match. Davis a possible 228. Dickinson a possible 237. Once again, the lead is only 1 pin.
Rotating bowling ball into the pocket Puckett, 168 through the 8th with a strike in the 9th. What a match, Nelson.
And what a great shot that Davis threw coming back there in the 9th frame. Look at that ball. He would have knocked down tree trunks if they were staying there. Sharp break, powerful hit, solid in the pocket.
All right, now with a double. This is Gary Dickinson, who one time trailed by 33. Can now take the lead. He stuck a little bit at the line, and it was a high hit, 4-7.
Part of the reason they're sticking, I think, Chris, is they're trying to aim so much. On a track or worn condition a little bit like this, the players have to play a much tighter line. Accuracy is of the utmost importance, so they'll be a little tentative, and they aim that ball and tightens up their legs. Dickinson with a spare would trail by 3.
So it's a spare in the 9th for 37-year-old Gary Dickinson.
As you can see, if Dickinson can throw a double, he'll force Davis to throw a double right down to the 10th frame, as most of these matches are. Most people wonder why the matches become so close. All these players on the tour, top players such as Dickinson and Davis, average somewhere between 214 and 217, so there's only 3 pins difference in their average. There has to be a lot of close matches.
Watching with you, standing room only crowd here at the Imperial Lanes. Another high hit, 4-7.
The one thing the right-hander cannot do on the left-hand lane, that is lane 25 here, is ease up. Dickinson spliced his target, did not have quite the speed. The ball broke high, leaving the 4-7. The match is not over. He will force Davis to mark in the 10th if Dickinson can convert.
That's Gary looking at the overhead score sheet. He knows exactly the situation.
Dickinson with a strike would bowl 2-0-3. Davis with spare strike would have 2-0-8. So no matter what, he's going to force Davis to mark in the 10th.
.203 for Gary Dickinson of Burleson, Texas. Now from Tinton Falls, New Jersey. That's in the Red Bank, New Jersey area, which is south of Paramus. Dave Davis
needs a mark.
Leaving at 6.
And out of all the pins he would like to leave, that is the easiest spare for a left-hander. Cross lane, the 6th pin, has to make that and get a 6-pin count to defeat Dickinson and go on to meet Ernie Schlegel.
And the loser of this first game in our live coverage, $4,500. There's tension occasionally on the face of the wives.
Davis needs 6 pins to win. You know, occasionally a player will get a 5-pin count, a professional bowler. For a left-hander, would most likely be the 3, 5, 6, 7, 9. Davis taking a little extra time here. I have seen matches lost when a player just needed 6 pins to win.
And with the pressure of having fouled.
Chris, he just wins by 1 pin.
Wow. What a way to start the PBA National Championship. Let's pause a few moments to hear these messages from some of the people who are bringing you this week's stop on the Pro Bowlers Tour.
The Pro Bowlers Tour. This ABC Sports Exclusive is being brought to you by the Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. And by Ford, and your local Ford dealer, who invite you to test drive the new 1981 Ford cars and trucks, including Escort, the new world car from Ford.
Here at the Imperial Lanes, 204 to 203. Dave Davis, the winner. He'll meet Ernie Schlegel. Pro Bowlers Tour will continue after this message from one of our sponsors and station identification.
How's the cold tonight?
Oh, don't ask.
I got you some cough medicine.
But I'm also sniffling, sneezing, aching. My head is stuffy. I'm feverish, and I gotta rest.
I was supposed to get a sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head fever so you could rest medicine?
That's NyQuil. It relieves a cough as well as this, plus all my other symptoms.
NyQuil.
Would you get me some?
Be right back.
NyQuil, the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head fever so you can rest medicine.
Working late again, Mr. Peabody?
Afraid so, Rose.
You were the genius who designed the Firestone 721 tire.
That's my problem. They want me to top it.
Top it? But isn't the 721 what they call a winner?
Oh, sure. It's got 7 around 2 wrapped by 1. There's 24 million on the road, you know.
And you're gonna top that, Mr. Bell?
Well,
The Firestone 721. It's one tough tire to top.
Tonight, it's a new team and all new action. 240 Roberts.
Our live coverage of the PBA National Championship continues. Dave Davis, 204. Gary Dickinson, 203. 6 strikes for Davis, including a foul ball. And here he goes against very colorful Ernie Schlegel in match number 2.
Chris, if there was a pair of lanes that was designed for a player, I'd have to say it is this pair for Ernie Schlegel. The shot on this pair is as straight as you can go. Ernie throws as straight a ball as any professional right-hander on the Pro Tour. All he has to do is go right up the second arrow and stay with the shot. He loves this pair of lane, has a lot of confidence, and has always bowled well in this bowling center.
Dig those clothes. Ernie Schlegel, born in Manhattan, New York City. Just Nelson, as you said, talk about a powerhouse strike. Ernie Schlegel opens.
That's the Schlegel edge this week. We saw Dickinson go high on that same shot, the 4-7, but Ernie Schlegel has the ball straight enough at the back end, right in the track, to make it set in the pocket.
Now the winner, 204, 203. First shot. All but the 6 as we get a low-angle replay.
Dave Davis, watch that right foot slide into the foul line, that hand go right by the leg, and the good turn. Everything professional on that shot. Ball about 8 inches over the foul line. Look at that foot perpendicular to the foul line. You just can't do it any better except knock them all down. He hooked a little high and left the 6-pin.
And so the man who was last on our telecast in the Midas Open a year ago when he lost from the top-seeded position. But he set an all-time PBA record of 770 pins for leading a tournament heading into the finals.
Chris, we said the pair of lanes hooks more for the left-handers on the right-hand lane, and it's a little slicker for the right-handers. The reason being is when they resurface a lane, they use a rotor buffer, and they'll cut one side of the lane first. On this particular pair, they'll cut the right side first on the right-hand lane and go down the other side of the lane. Well, the grain of the sandpaper wears down a little bit, so they don't cut the left side quite as much, causing more surface friction and the ball to break sharper.
Request for a reset granted by our tournament director of all these years, Harry Golden. There's Harry moving back to his spot. Man with a lot of responsibility here as we televise the finals of the PBA tournaments for the 20th year. Spare working, second frame. Oh. Well, we have a little 4, 6, 7, 10.
Well, that's 2 6 counts in Dave's last 3 balls, and he has to be tentative after that foul. Here he just lets the ball get away, cuts right through the heart, leaves the big 4. He'll just shoot for 2 of them with a little extra speed. The only way you can make this is slide it over or bounce it out of the pit. There's barely 2 ways to make it. The 7-10, there's only 1 way, bounce it out of the pit.
And gets only 1 of the 2 he aimed for. So it's 23 for Davis through 2 frames and a 17-pin lead by Ernie Schlegel, a 5'11", 155-pounder, 37 years old. They're all battling here in this field that averages 41 years of age as to which of the 2 37-year-olds had an early birthday. Schlegel went out by a few days.
Schlegel with a great break. Davis opened the 2nd frame.
Boy, that double. And he is on. And speaking of age, a 51-year-old legend will be bowling the winner of this match.
The profile of Ernie Schlegel, really a good arm swing. He throws this shot perfect. Look at that arm in excellent position. Watch the knee bend. Stays down at the line, gets all the way through the shot. One of the keys to good bowling and direction is the long extension and follow through towards your target. And a really good practice point for any players at home is not to try to hit the target with your hand, but try to hit it with the inside of your elbow.
Catherine DePace Schlegel, watching as her husband now sets up on the left approach with a double working 3rd frame, 2nd game. If you just joined us, Dave Davis edged Gary Dickinson 204 to 203. Three in a row. That's explosive.
Davis has his back to the wall, struggling a little bit with his own game. Of course, he admitted earlier before we went on the telecast he wasn't as sharp as years before because of business commitments, but he's really got to go to the whip now. Trails by 37 pins.
There's 1 coming in the 3rd frame of our 2nd match. Meanwhile, the tournament leader, Earl Anthony, and the man in 2nd position, Dick Weber, warm up for their action coming up.
See the difference between the Davis stroke and the Schlegel stroke. Davis with the big, powerful, sharp-breaking hook at the back end. Schlegel down and in, following the track. Davis with a double could cut the lead to 27.
Beautiful mixing strike for Dave Davis, a former PBA National Champion, as is this man, Bob Strampy. We'll be back.
Every professional bowler has an arsenal of his own, special weapons for special lane conditions. Now, you can have your own arsenal in just 2 bowling balls from AMF. The AMF 3-Dot Classic in hard rubber for normal lane conditions. And now the AMF 3-Dot Classic in soft rubber for lanes that demand more traction. Hard rubber 3-Dot, soft rubber 3-Dot. The arsenal from AMF.
Hey, there it is. What in the blazes is that thing? This is one of them new small models. Ride good? Good, rides great. Got me some Monroe-matic shocks. Little big shocks from Monroe. Little big shocks? Yep, best ride I ever had. Of course, them's Monroe's. Darn tootin' Monroe little big shocks. Even fits imports.
Imports? What's imports?
Small car, America rides Monroe.
Full house, over 2,000 spectators here at the Imperial Lanes, and dwarfed now a close-up of Ernie Schlegel, 3 in a row, leading by 27. This is our 2nd match of live coverage of the PBA National Championship. Schlegel against Davis. Ernie taking his usual time. Oh, they are just blowing out of there. 4-bagger and a 37-pin lead.
The capacity crowd here at Imperial loves it. Now watch Ernie's ball. Just straight into the pocket. Drives all the pins straight off. There were 10 just dynamited out of there. Ernie Schlegel bowling as well as he's ever bowled in his whole life, and on a pair of lanes that he could not have made any better than for himself. Leads by 37. They extend that lead to 47 with 1 more strike.
Loves the 56-game format. He's cashed in 8 of the 9 tournaments that he's bowled in this year. And his best year last year, winning twice, his first 2 victories. Wow. It looked like Nelson Burton in 1970 winning here.
Whew. Well, he beat me here one year, Chris, and he is really tough on these lanes. Ernie, this is where he got it all started. This is where he got his confidence in Toledo, and he's taking advantage of it now. Davis trails by 47.
Double up. Another good strike. Cutting the lead to 37 pins in our second match. The winner to meet Dick Weber.
This is a big shot for Davis right here. He's putting some more pressure on Schlegel. Schlegel out running fast for the 5-bagger, but Davis, experienced veteran, won 18 titles, great come-from-behind player. He can strike here, cut Schlegel's lead to 27, but more importantly, he'll put added pressure on Ernie.
Leaving a 6-7. Tough break.
Well, that's the practice Dave said he talked about. He's gotten sharper every day during the tournament, but this ball he lost a little bit at the line, laid it down, cut through very sharply at the back end, left a 6-7 split. Has to go for it here. He's so far behind in the match.
And we're going to have to get a reset on the 7-pin.